It's a people, it's a community, it's a life, it's a heart, it's a spirit.
Parents of gay children say, I want my son, my gay son, to have the same opportunity to come to me and say, hey, Dad, I'm getting married, as my non-gay son or my non-gay daughter.
The heck would you want a picture of a tattoo of $1,000 on your penis for?
You might just need to satisfy yourself sexually alone at that point.
Do I regret it? Not one bit. Did I think that I would actually take it the next step and do it again?
And what goes into their life, how they handle it. There are 12 houses, and each one of those houses has a particular function.
Look into yourself, think about it, and just be whoever it is that speaks to you.
Hello and welcome to Talking About. My name is Jon Griffith, and today I am sitting in Bryant Park talking to two exceptional gentlemen. Got East Coast and West Coast representation. So why don't you just introduce yourselves to our audience?
Hi, I'm David Llewellyn, and I'm the moderator of Strength in Numbers New York.
Hi, I'm Bryan Levinson. I'm the founder of Strength in Numbers.
Okay, so, well, Strength in Numbers. Exactly what is Strength in Numbers?
Strength in Numbers is a non-profit social network for HIV-positive gay men. And what we focus on is social support networks, not so much emotional support groups, but more on social activities like the bar nights that David has organized here in New York, breakfast, hikes, movie nights.
Anything that the members can come up with that they want. We've done movie nights, we've done bowling events, we've done holiday parties, all kinds of sorts. And from each city, it's actually it's their take on what kind of events they want to hold and what kind of events that the members want to hold.
Okay, so this you gave birth to this idea on the West Coast. How did this evolve in your mind originally?
Well, I tested positive in 2000, and at the time in LA, and maybe this was true in other cities, there weren't a lot of social opportunities for people living with HIV. A lot of the agencies were focused, as they should be, on providing medical care and housing, and the cutbacks were just really starting, and so when I tested positive, also there weren't as many gay men who were getting infected as there are now, unfortunately. So it seemed to the agencies that they didn't need to provide as many social events for gay men with HIV, and being positive in the gay community was still an issue. It caused a lot of shame about disclosure, and it was much more comfortable to be around other positive gay men. So when I had tested positive, I started doing some of the volunteer events with the local agencies and was not all that happy with what they were doing, and thought, I could try to do something different. And I did a potluck for single positive gay men, and it started from there.
Did it really start as a social thing or more of a support thing, or really a little bit of both? Because my understanding is that it started more in the support area. Would that be accurate, or would that be off base?
It's more social. I think actually it's the reverse. The social events came first, and then the support came with it. That people found friendships, they found ways to communicate information about HIV with each other. From our potluck, we started a weekly breakfast, and that's been going on for several years now in LA. We actually have 2 breakfasts in LA. Then a group in Phoenix said that they wanted to start their own group, so I helped them, and then that started the ball rolling about getting chapters going. And there were some existing social groups in other cities, certainly, and I based Strength in Numbers on them. And one of the reasons why I chose the name was I wanted to have something that dealt with HIV, but that did not have to reference HIV or AIDS in the name itself. So I thought, what's the thing that people ask you most when you're positive? The thing that they ask you a lot is, what are your numbers? what are your blood work numbers? So hence, strength in numbers, and a convenient acronym is SIN, which caused some issues initially, but then when people got used to it, I think it
turned into a fun thing.
It empowered them, like Queer Nation in the 80s and 90s, where we took back the name queer. We've sort of taken back this word SIN and made it our own.
Okay, and how did you begin to get involved in New York?
Well, we kind of had a similar situation here in New York, where you find that you can find a lot of emotional support and a lot of support groups, and you can go to the community centers and stuff like that. But when it came to, like, if you kind of got everything together in your head and you were dealing with your stuff, there was no way to interact, and there was no community here in New York for the positive community, just to relax and have a good time, get to know each other. And I wrote an email to Bryan, basically congratulating him on the article for, I think, HIV+, right?
Yeah, HIV+.
So I'm on the cover, and I'd already been a member of the New York group, but there had been no active events. So I wrote him an email one day, and I said, I think I'm pretty accurate that this is the state of the community here in New York, that we don't really have much of a community and many social events. So I'd like to start slowly, but how about I, throw a bar night for these guys, and just have these guys be able to come out and relax and not have to, like, stand up in a circle and say, hi, my name is, before introducing themselves to someone. And the ball kind of got rolling from there.
Okay, so it's sort of the anti-12 step thing.
Yes, I kind of was. I was very, and that was kind of my first email to the guys, because I wanted to make a strong impact. Whether people were not going to like me or like me, I wanted to say, this is so not a 12-step program. This is so, because we have in New York and LA, we have so many resources for that, and we're very grateful for it. But, that it's time to create the niche for social activity. So if you need a 12-step program, if you need that kind of strict emotional support and structure, there's many resources you can go to. But if you want to have social interaction with guys and relax and be able to make friends and be able to date and bowl, go to brunches, go to dinner, that's when you come, throw an email to me, and odds are we have an event going on either in New York or any city.
Okay, and we'll reiterate it later in the program, but what is the email address for the New York area?
It's Sin New York City at yahoogroups.com. SinNewYorkCity@yahoogroups.com. Or you can always go to the overall worldwide website, which is strengthinnumbers.org, and check into the list of cities. And in fact, New York City has its own page on the strengthinnumbers.org page. So you can always be referred to the Yahoo group through there.
And how long did the New York group exist before you sort of took over as moderator?
I think it existed about, 2.5 years?
Yeah, I had created it.
Yeah, and there was a good amount there was a lot of information exchange, and a couple of, some guys took a couple of shots at, maybe we'll have poker night, or, come meet me, I'm going to theater, but nothing quite panned out. So it just needed something with a lot of energy and a lot of punch, and I kind of threw myself out there and said, hey, I'm going to be really aggressive about it, almost maybe even a little obnoxious about it, and I'm just out there.
Which is very New York.
Yeah, very New York. Because that's the first thing me and Bryan talked about, is how do we penetrate New York, because it's going to be different in how you penetrate LA, because people are very comfortable in their little circles in New York. So how do we bring back the community? So I just threw myself out there, and I was like, hey, on this certain night, I'm going to stand there. In fact, the first day before we had Sin t-shirts, I was like, I'm going to stand in this bar at this time with an orange polo shirt. I want you to come say hi to me. And whoever comes say hi to me, I'm going to introduce you to all the other guys who came and said hi to me.
Yeah.
And then that's how it got rolling. It was a very grassroots effort.
So, and on the West Coast side, do things kind of take place the same way? Or, I mean, you've had a chance to visit us on our East Coast. What are there some primary differences between the way the groups interact?
Well, one thing it's interesting with the Strength in Numbers model. We have about 40 chapters around the world, and some groups are very active, like New York. Other groups are just getting going or just getting started. They range from large cities like New York and LA to smaller cities like Salt Lake City, which is one of our most active. and involved groups. London is getting going. We have Rio that just started. And each city is different, and the concept behind Strength in Numbers is so simple in its format. A little bit akin to 12-step programs, but of course we have nothing that we need to get emotional recovery over. We just have to get social support in living with HIV. But the concept is the same, keep it simple. And what that does is allows each city to mold it and change it to fit what that community is like. So in New York, it's really been, David's really been able to change it so that it meets the personality of the city, and that attracts the guys that live there. In LA, we were very active in the beginning, and then I focused more on other cities, and now we're starting to get active again. There's other social groups that have started there, and we're existing there, and we have we're blessed in LA to have a lot of resources for HIV still. The community and the entertainment industry is still very supportive, so they haven't had as many cutbacks, and so guys don't always feel the need to have to go out to find social support as they do in other cities. So LA is still a large group, but we go up and down in our activity, just like any social organization. And now, we're focusing on building again and getting active again. But also, it's difficult for me because I have to look at all these other chapters that we have going. One of the things that we're hoping to do is a international web conference of our moderators, because we have to reach moderators from London to Sydney and cities all in between, and we're going to have to, somebody's going to be up at 2 a.m. and somebody's going to be up at 8 a.m. and we're going to be hitting all these time zones in between.
So we're going to have a couple of people yawning on this conference.
Yeah, exactly. They better drink some coffee. But yeah.
Well, which kind of brings me to the next aspect. Are you beginning to see interaction between groups? And you're visiting New York on pretty much the 1-year anniversary of your taking over the group and the resurgence of the group in New York, or taking on its life, really.
I'd say absolutely. We're definitely having interaction of the groups. Like even on the Strength in Numbers business aspect, we'll deal with, I'll talk to Bryan regularly, and then we have in Dallas, they actually built our New York logo, which was a great help. And then we have guys from Philadelphia. I just got an email just a little while ago about guys from Philadelphia who had a great time at our holiday party, and they're more than happy to come join us for the party here tonight. And actually, we had a New York contingent going to Philly last week. And what we're going to do is have an outreach to the cities. We have a pause cruise. We don't have, but there's a pause cruise being organized in Florida.
Yeah.
And we have a New York contingent going of about 15 guys. It's going to be a really good time, but we're going to start reaching out to all the other chapters. This is a great way for us. Hey, let's all meet on a cruise. Let's all lay in the sunshine and exchange ideas.
We're all excited about going to Rio, where our new chapter is.
Yes.
We're all very excited, so we're planning that trip. Also, the thing with Strength in Numbers is we work with I try to partner as best as possible and in a very easy way with other social groups that are in other cities. There's social groups that are not part of the Strength in Numbers name, but they operate in very much the same way. DC has a very large group.
We communicate a lot with the DC group here in New York.
And we partner with them because we're all working on the same issue, whatever our names are. We're all in this effort together to bring social support to positive guys. We're all facing the same disease, and we all deal with the same issues pretty much. And so I really work hard at reaching out and really living up to the name of Strength in Numbers, that we don't limit ourselves just to those groups that have our name.
Mm-hmm. And I think also too, for all the different cities that we're growing in chapters, it's actually going to be a very beautiful thing. That here in New York we have a lot of events going on, but you can visit DC, you can visit Miami, you can visit Los Angeles, you can visit Dallas, Salt Lake City, and all you have to do is send one little email that says, "Hey, I'm in New York, I'm a sinner, I'm coming to town," and you're going to have a group of guys that welcome you with open arms, and that's awesome. That's a great thing.
So it's pretty amazing. I mean, done a little bit of my homework, just checking out the group and checking out some other groups that work on similar principles, as you said, but none seem to have taken the life that the New York chapter has. And I'm sure I've never seen the LA group in action or any of the other groups in action yet, but I'm just in comparison with other named groups, there seems to be not quite the same liveliness as the New York chapter.
Well, not always. I wouldn't say in every instance. Like you say, Salt Lake City, they're smaller, but they're very active. They're very involved. Philadelphia, their enthusiasm is crazy. They're very enthusiastic, and they have a lot of events going. But here in New York, this is New York City. We have the numbers. We're the second largest chapter to Los Angeles. Los Angeles being the largest chapter. And when you have the numbers, the problem here in New York before was the disconnect. And that's what we're breaking through, that barrier, and we really are creating a strength in numbers here in New York. And I think we're becoming a good example for the other cities, and they're really getting inspired by it. So it's definitely been a really good thing.
So, well, I mean, sheer volume. But how many new members just per group per week would you estimate join up?
Per group, per week. Well, we get spikes at different times, say like after an event or something like that, and people tend to bring friends of friends, and we'll see like a surge within 3 days of like 25 people out of nowhere. And then it slows down. I would say on an average, we get about 5 to 10 members per week in the New York group. And it grows pretty much, like I said, and you get larger spikes after events.
Yeah, I mean, and strength in numbers has been pretty much all through word of mouth. And there are other social groups in other cities that are extremely active. LA has a group that's really active and is doing really well. And it's, really the same concept. And I think it shows that people are looking for that kind of social interaction. And particularly with HIV, I think that a lot of the guys that we reach out to are guys that have their health care, they have jobs, they are taking care of themselves, but they're still dealing with this major issue in their life and want to find some commonality and fellowship with other gay men who are HIV positive as well. And they're really looking for that social support. And a lot of agencies just can't deliver that right now because they're focused on providing medical care and housing and things like that, which are extremely important. And we fill in that gap. I think the thing with strength in numbers is that I really tried to create a simple format that would be easily replicated in other cities and would have some sort of name connection to it so that instantly someone could say, are you part of the SIN group? And they know immediately what that meant. It also allowed them some kind of privacy so that if they joined the group, that it didn't have a particular connotation to it. It didn't automatically out them about their HIV status. Like there's some groups that have the name PAUSE in their title, and I've always thought that's a little bit of that might turn off some members, guys joining because they don't want, if they get an email that has the word PAUSE in it, they don't know who's going to see it. And, not everybody is as open about their status as David and myself, and really try to protect the privacy of our members and make sure that even in our communications to them, that if an email pops up in their email box, it does not reference HIV or AIDS directly. In that way they've got some privacy when they're reading their emails, and when they go to look in an email, they'll know whether they can look at it. I mean, it's those little details that I think have helped strengthen numbers, and I think part of it is really trying to help guys build their groups. I mean, one of the things is that I worked with David a lot. He helped me a lot just in expanding and how I did outreach to other guys in different cities. But one of the things I found for myself as the founder and general manager is really doing this outreach to guys who are starting chapters in their own cities, and they come to me and ask me general questions about what they should be doing and what kind of consistent format. And
also too, the moderators themselves sometimes need a little emotional support.
Oh,
And
exactly.
He
exactly.
totally, he, like when I first did it, I was actually apprehensive about being a mod. I'm like, I'll throw a bar night, but I'm not sure if I want to be a moderator. But the way Bryan encouraged me and the way he built it up and informed me and stuff, it just seemed like an inevitable step. It was, you know, so he was definitely pivotal in making New York grow that way.
Okay, and just in terms of growth, where would you like to see this go? Where do you want to take it? Is it just you're going to hold course, or are you looking at new directions in addition to, you know, more national gatherings, more, you know, national online gatherings, or where do you want it to go?
I think I'll let you take this one, Bryan.
Well, you know, I think for now what I'd really like us to focus on is the cities that we have, so that we're making sure that we're really growing those cities and developing them and making them as successful as possible and nurturing them. And then over time, if guys really show an interest in getting a group started in their city, I'll definitely be happy to help them, because I think that it would be great to have a Sin chapter in every city, which would allow guys to be able to go to every city that they wanted to and be able to look up a Sin group and find community and connection immediately and know exactly what they were going to get, that they were going to get a welcome, and that all the moderators, the guys who manage these groups, are trained in the same way and sort of mentored in the same way, so that they give the same welcoming, loving support, while also being able to treat guys like guys, you know, that they're not there to try to be their therapist all the time, that they're not there to talk down to them or take care of them, that they're really there as a fellow positive gay man, and they understand what they're going through, and that they can really communicate with them one-on-one, and they, you know, somebody gets them, somebody understands what they're going through. And we can also have some fun with it. I mean, you know, we're gay men. We want to be gay guys to be able to act gay. The group, one thing that's important to know about Strength in Numbers, even despite our acronym SIN, is we're not a sexual group, and that's something that
we've actually tried to be very strict with that.
Yeah, we make that clear, but then we also allow for guys to be able to have fun and have some sexual connotation. You know, definitely not, we're not a staid, dry group.
What we try to create, I think, is more of a natural social atmosphere that stuff like that is inevitable. The same thing, like, you know, with the regular gay community, with the straight community. You know, you're out at a party and you see that person from across the room. Something could happen. There could be some chemistry there, or you're going to make a great group of friends that night. So the importance is creating that natural social atmosphere where people can just relax and get to know each other, and it's not, you know, it's not like I said, it's not a therapy group or something like that.
Okay, I mean, we know that it's not designed to be a hookup group, but I mean, just to go off in a different direction, for those in more remote parts of the country where they might not have access to services or even in their own mind, this social networking. If someone, say, in Farmtown, Nowhereville, USA, joins up with one of the groups, and they're looking for not just the social but the services and the support, are there resources within your website and within the community to help point them in the right direction?
Well, not only do each group itself usually post community resources, but we found the greatest resource are the individual members. That's one of the great things that we have here, like in New York and LA, that you'll see mostly. That's one thing we definitely have in common in all the cities, is you have someone that says, hey, you know, I'm just I'm going on medications, I want to know how this medication is, how is it, what can I expect, or I'm looking for this doctor, or what's going on with this healthcare plan or this agency, and you'll get about 10 emails back with guys sharing their experiences. You know, sometimes creates healthy debates, and it's definitely, I would say, the best. You know, you could always find the links and you can always find the community resources, but the best resources themselves are the individual members who are more than happy to help you.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really been exciting about Strength in Numbers lately is that we've been able to reach out to more rural areas, and we've started up in a new successful group is in Colorado, where they're reaching out to the entire state. And that's an issue because a lot of guys live in more rural areas where they've seen a lot of their services get cut, particularly during this current administration. They've seen a lot of cuts, unfortunately, and that's one thing that these guys can offer to each other is help each other find out information about what resources are still left or what they can do to help themselves. One member helping another with information. And you can ask one question and you get, 5, 6, 10 answers. And then from there you can make your own decision. And it really empowers guys to have control of their health and their social lives. I mean, they ask about issues about dating and safe sex issues. And, we're not a political group, but we allow some quasi-political discussions if it affects the social lives of positive gay men. There was a big ad campaign in LA that featured guys with, it was a safe sex campaign, and it featured guys who had very severe side effects. And there was a lot of response to it. A lot of guys in the community were very upset by that campaign and thought it was very derogatory and discriminatory towards positive gay men, that we already had enough issues to deal with, and now we had to be seen on these billboards as victims and as people to avoid. And in the Strength in Numbers group gave guys that forum to be able to express their opinions about it and really communicate with each other, much like ACT UP used to do, or Queer Nation. It really gave them that format and that ability to kind of vent and discuss with each other. And I've seen that. Give each other an audience. Basically. Give each other an audience. I've seen that in New York as well. So, and we're also working out some programs to reach out to women with HIV. Our group is, our mission for Strength in Numbers is and remain focused on social support, networking for gay men with HIV. But along with that, I know that there are so many heterosexuals in this country who are living with HIV and looking for the same sort of social support themselves. What's been helpful to guys like David and myself and the other members of Strength in Numbers could easily be a great asset and resource and empower the lives of heterosexuals. So we're working on a program called Women in Sin, where we help women create their own social support groups, and we don't know what the final name of that's going to be, but we have a woman who's going to start up a chapter of Sin in Spokane for gay men and positive women, but it'll be focused on the Sin mission, and I'm really excited about that as well.
So if somebody from, say, the heterosexual community came to you and said, listen, I want to take the initiative, I want to take it upon myself, and I want to do what you're doing, I want to achieve the level of support that you've achieved, what would you advise them, and how would you approach that?
Well, I would have them look at what we're doing with the Sin chapters right now and help them create their own group that would be under a different name so that we can still have Strength in Numbers focused on gay men. I think one of the things that I saw that happened with a lot of the HIV/AIDS agencies in the 90s was that they did sort of a really radical turn where they shifted from focusing primarily on gay men with HIV to almost exclusively on heterosexuals with HIV, and left a lot of the gay men feeling like they had been abandoned. And I did not want that to happen with Strength in Numbers ever. I want us to always be focused on gay men with HIV, and then while at the same time helping heterosexuals replicate what we've been able to achieve and mold it to themselves so that whatever their members are really looking for, that they listen to them. I mean, Sin is a pretty democratic organization. Mm-hmm. Has that been true in New York?
Yes, it's definitely, I think it's very, like each chapter is a little bit autonomous in that. And Yeah, it's pretty much what you make of it. And I would say, like, say if the heterosexual community wanted to create their own contingent with the sin, it's just a matter. I think it would be how you would approach it with any city, whether you're an HIV positive man or an HIV positive woman or an HIV positive heterosexual man. Just have a clear objective of what you want to do with the group, and know what sin is all about, and that's always a great starting point.
Okay, just wrapping things up, for the newly positive gay man, since that's what the organization is really focused on, who is coming to terms both medically, socially, with all of the questions, what does it mean, where am I going, you know, everything that you had gone through when you first found out that you were positive, what would you advise them that would include sin?
Well, one is put your, you know, it's a little hard at first, but put yourself out there. Say hi, introduce yourself, and you'll find you'll be very surprised in the support that you find. Just in says, you know, hey, we're in the same situation. Whether you need a mentor or a big brother or something like that, there's always going to be someone there to support you, just to welcome you and just say, hey, you know, we know how you feel, you know, and whether you want to delve into, take advantage of their experience that much, or you just want to be able to relax and meet people with that commonality, then that's what will be a resource for. And it's pretty much what you want to make of it. But the best way to start is introduce yourself and say hi, and you'll definitely get a response.
Yeah, join up today, and you can join at your own comfort level. Some guys tell people their names. Some guys keep their identity very private. They don't have to tell us who they are. We don't require any membership fees. We don't require any information about them. They can access the groups in any way they like. When they come to events, they know that no one's going to say anything about them, or we're going to keep their status private. We give everyone that respect, and they're really going to find a lot of support, and I think that they really should come out and access the events like what David does here in New York, what we do in LA, or the other cities where we have strength in numbers groups or any kind of positive social organization. It can really change their life, and you're dealing with what is still a potentially fatal disease, and it really changes and affects a lot of what your life is about, particularly when you're out dating or dealing with healthcare. And I think that guys don't really realize that until they interact with other positive guys and then start talking about the issues, and then they start realizing what a huge deal this is, what a big effect it has had on their life and can have on their life, and that it's best to have that social support. I've seen a lot of studies that have come out that have shown that people with HIV who have a lot of social support, a lot of friends who are also positive, where they have friends who have the same issues that they do. And then they've shown this with other diseases like cancer or people in addiction recovery. If you're with people who have the same issues and you're bonding with them and finding fellowship and support with them, they tend to be healthier over time. They tend to live longer because they're with people that understand them, and they share information and gain a lot of support that they wouldn't normally get.
Okay, well, I'm freezing. We're losing our light.
Yeah, it is very cold out here.
And our time together is just about up. The website, again, is www.strengthinnumbers.org.
That's right, strengthin numbers, all one word, .org.
And you can find it through a Yahoo search also for the individual groups.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or you can reach me at Bryan with a Y at strengthinnumbers.org. That's Bryan with a Y at strengthinnumbers.org. And I'll gladly email you, and I'll get you in touch with David if you'd like to know more about New York or more about what he's doing here. And congratulations to David and to the Sin New York group. I'm so excited. I mean, they've made me so proud. They've done exactly what I would always hope and pray for every Sin group.
Well, we just wanted to live up to Bryan's standards. Thank you very much. All right.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for joining us. My name is Jon Griffith for Talking About. I will see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.